Hi, welcome to week 2 of biology. This is the second week that we've been together, and we're going to start looking at some of the tools we're going to be using during class. So the first thing we're going to do is start with the warm-up. And I do expect you to be able to name all 4 class norms. I also expect to have had your syllabus turned in with your signature and your parent's signature, as well as some questions answered about your parents. So we're going to look at graphing first. Graphing is one of those things that we do quite often in science. Not only do we need to be able to make graphs, but we need to be able to interpret those graphs for others and for ourselves. So the first thing we're going to do is take notes, and if you push on this right here, this will give you my PowerPoint for graphing, and we are going to look at that first. So when we talk about graphs and graphing, remember we are thinking about how do we graph, what do we graph, and when do we graph. So the first thing you need to know is that the independent part of a graph is what you, the experimenter, changes or enacts in order to do your experiment. So this independent variable is very important. So what did you do to make this experiment different? With the dependent variable, which is one of those things you need to know for graphing, it is what changes because you have changed the independent variable. Remember, the dependent variable depends on the outcome of what happens from the independent variable. So here is an example I give you. So if you're measuring the growth rate of a plant under full sunlight for 8 hours a day versus plants that only have 4 hours of sunlight per day, think about that for a second. What did you change? The amount of time per day of full sunlight would be your independent variable because that's what you changed. The growth rate of the plant would be the dependent variable because that's what you are measuring. So how do we construct just a line graph? Line graphs are what we're going to talk about first, and then we'll move to the others. So first you have to identify the variables. Remember, your independent variable is going to go on your x-axis, which is your horizontal axis, and your dependent variable is going to go on your y-axis or your vertical axis. To determine the scale, or how much each one of those blocks are going to be worth, you're going to do a best fit. You want the graph to be mostly across all the space you have. So in other words, make sure that most of the space is being taken up. Then you're going to number and label each axis. This tells us what the lines of your graph represent. So you're going to label each axis with appropriate units and with a title. That's important. The next thing you're going to do is plot your data points. So you'll plot each point using your x-axis guide to go to your y-axis and giving yourself a point. Then you're going to draw a curve or a line that best fits those data points. Look at this line here. You can tell where the data points were. Most graphs of experimental data are not drawn as a connect the dot. It's usually a best fit line. Then you're going to title your graph. You should clearly tell what the graph is about. It could be your dependent variable versus your independent variable. That's a very easy way to title your graph. If your graph has more than one set of data, provide a key to identify what the different lines are. So if I had, more than one data, I would have more than one line, and I would have to have a key over to the side telling me what the red line's for and what the purple line is for. So how do you know which graph to choose? Well, there are 4 different graphs that we're going to be able to use in this class, and we'll start with the line graph. Now, the line graph is used to track over a short or a long period of time, and they compare changes over that time, usually for more than one group. A pie chart tells me I'm comparing all these parts to a whole. In a bar graph, I'm just comparing different groups and tracking it over time. An area graph is similar to a line graph. They are used to track changes over time for more than one group. Area graphs are good to use when you are tracking the changes of 2 or more related groups in one category, such as a public group versus a private group. And then the XY plot are used to determine relationships between 2 different things. The x-axis is used to measure one event, and the y-axis is used to measure the other event. Again, if the variables increase at the same time, they have a positive relationship. If they decrease at the same time, then they have what's known as a negative relationship or no relationship. The next thing we're going to do is complete a worksheet. So what does this worksheet look like? Well, this worksheet is going to be a fill in the blank. And basically you're going to use your notes and these 4 terms to fill these blanks in. Then we will go over the worksheet together in class. Then I'm going to have you practice making some graphs. So I have got several graphs here for you to actually practice. Remember, you're going to decide if it's a pie, a bar, or a line graph. You're going to give me a title. You're going to tell me what the independent variable is under the y-axis. That's going to be your title. The dependent variable is going to be on the y-axis, and that's going to be the title of the y-axis, and then you'll come up with a scale. Again, the independent variable is on the x-axis. So I'm going to have you do a bar graph, answer 3 questions, do a line graph, answer 3 questions, do another bar graph, answer 3 more questions, do another line graph, answer 3 more questions, do a pie graph, and answer 3 more questions. So that's going to be one of your assignments. You can practice making graphs. I give you graph information, and then I give you graph paper. You should always use graph paper on Kami. Kami is the best place. So again, it's the same worksheet that we've already worked on. And then this is the end of the 6th, because of course Monday we would have had a holiday. And you're going to tell me what a dependent variable is and give me an example as your exit ticket. Now we're into day 2, which is the 7th. What pieces of information are needed to label this graph? So you're going to tell me the 4 pieces of information I need to label this graph. Then we're going to learn how to graph using Google Sheets. You're going to learn how to make a table on Google Sheets, and you're going to learn to create a graph on Google Sheets. You will need to watch both of these videos and do them step by step. So then on slide 11, we're going to choose some data to graph on Google Sheets and use at least 6 data points to do this. We're going to create a data table and a chart and do what's known as a best fit. So you have to go I am stopping this video. We are going to look at day 2, which is 9-7. And the first thing you need to do is tell me what pieces of information are needed to label this graph. So please make sure that you can tell me what pieces of information I need to label this graph. Then we're going to go back to our graphing on Google Sheets. When we do that, we're going to watch a couple of videos. We're going to practice creating a chart and a graph, and then we are going to post that on Google Classroom. So how do you make a graph on Google Sheets? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So I'll need you to watch these 2 videos. Both videos are going to tell you how to create first a data table on Google Sheets and then how to create a graph on Google Sheets. Make sure that you watch these very carefully before you move on to our assignment, which is here. Here you're going to pick up some data, and you can choose any of the 6 of these that you want. And you're going to at least pick 6 pieces of data on a graph. Once you have done that, then you are going to put this into a chart on Google Sheets, and lastly, put it into a graph on Google Sheets. So Google Sheets is what we're learning about today, and I want to make sure that you understand that. So again, here is how to do all of those things. Our exit ticket for the 7th is what type of graph are you choosing to use to represent your data you chose, and why did you do that? So you need to be able to tell me why you chose that particular type of graph. Now we're into 9-8, and I want to know why graphs are important to disseminate information. Information is very important to give to the world once you have done your scientific experiments. So we're going to learn about something called the I2 strategy. I2 is one of those important types of strategies that helps you to help your audience to understand your graphs. So that's what it's for. So let's take some notes on this PowerPoint about I2, and then we'll talk about what else is going to be done today. So I2 strategies start off by helping you to identify any changes or trends or differences you see in a graph or a figure. You're going to draw arrows and write what you see, which is a WIS comment for each arrow. You're going to be concise in your comments. These should just be observations. Do not explain it yet. You're just doing observations. So we will look at this in just a moment. Then you're going to interpret it. So first you identify it, then you interpret it. So you take each what I see, or each WIS comment, and you tell me what it means, which is a WHIM comment. Do not try to interpret the whole graph at one time. Just interpret those smaller parts. Lastly, you're going to give a caption to your figure or your graph, and you'll start with a topic sentence. Once you've given a topic sentence, which should tell me what the whole graph is about, then join together all your WIS and WHIM comments to make a sentence for each one, and then build a coherent paragraph out of your sentences. That's what your caption is. So here is an example. First of all, we're comparing the speeds of different spheres traveling down a ramp. So notice that the wiffle ball has no bar whatsoever. What that means is that that wiffle ball is the slowest compared to all the other spheres you have on this graph. The second what I see, or WIS, is that the metal ball has the tallest bar. Notice, I didn't say why it had the tallest bar, I just